in multiple ways it has impacted. Now, taking the stock of the situation and adjusting ourselves to the tectonic shift, what does that one can do in the post-COVID era? How can one plan themselves in a better position so that their growth and scale is smooth? That is the idea of this interview, to help every one of us present here to take a cue from this and start implementing or seeing how it can be done. That's the purpose of this interview. My name is Suma Rao. Most of you know, been on this platform for quite some time. And I have a company named Leadership Studio Private Limited, which is more into leadership building at the corporate level. And from that leadership studio company, we are trying to help the professionals see, because the markets are opening, pandemic is coming to an end, there is a new learning, there are new opportunities. How can the individuals, the professionals, the business people, this opportunity for their benefit? That is what the whole idea is. And the resource person today, he doesn't need any introduction at all. A reptilian brain expert and a man with 40 plus years of experience in the corporate industry, 30 plus years as a CEO, having had large accounts.
You start studying what? Biology. Biology nahi karna to physics khatam karo.
May I request
political science?
To mute your microphones?
History.
Suma, you can unmute yourself and please talk.
Okay. Without much to do, him is a well-known personality with 40 plus years of experience and 30 plus years of experience in the corporate as a CEO. Let us hear from him how the impact has changed the lives of the people, at the same time, how the impact can be used for oneself to be launched in a better position. Welcome, Mr. Subramaniam, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Suma. Thank you for your warm welcome. And thanks everyone for giving their time to be with us today. And Leadership Studio has been doing great work in the startup sector. And I'm sure this program is aimed at helping the professionals, the entrepreneurs, business leaders, and startup owners to understand exactly what the situation is. I'll try to throw as much light as possible based upon my experience, and I hope people will find it useful. Yes, shoot.
Thank you, Mr. Subramanian. These are the questions which have been, which have come from many participants. They have shared it on my personal window. And collating all those, I'm going ahead with the first question. What exactly has changed due to COVID for the corporates and the individuals?
Can you please repeat the question?
What exactly has changed due to COVID for the corporates and the individuals?
To understand what exactly has changed for the corporates and the individuals, I think a couple of lines as to what the situation was before the COVID hit would give a correct perspective to it. Before the COVID, the focus of the management in most corporates was on performance, return on investment, output management, cost control, competitive advantage. These were the things. People very rarely thought, before the COVID, of things like employee welfare, employee health. It was just, another perks it was used to be treated as. And employee insurance was just, something which used to be in the file. People had to give it, so they gave. And many companies, they allowed the PF employee benefits to be taking care of the health also. Crisis management was never spoken about. It wasn't a key requirement. Change management was more, a cliche phrase rather than an essential commodity. In the post-COVID era, these things have become very important. Employee health and employee welfare has really taken center stage. People used to, mouth platitudes like people are business, business is people. But COVID has driven home the fact that people are business. Second thing is now, one of the key requirements for any manager at the middle and the senior level is the ability to handle crisis. The last 22 months has thrown up so many uncertainties. Things have really gone haywire. Now, Dun & Bradstreet had recently done a survey where they showed that 83% of the small businesses have been very severely hit. Very, very severely hit. And when they were interviewed, the business owners said that it would take, 70% of the business owners said it would take them more than 2 years to even think of getting back to normalcy. So you see, crisis management has become a key requirement at the management level, the ability to manage crisis. Second thing is how agile you are in coping with change. That has become very important. COVID has been a major providential act in the sense it has totally redefined the landscape, the business landscape. Things are absolutely not what they were earlier. Businesses have moved online. That means the traditional way of doing business, one-on-one, face-to-face, is over. Today, you have to be able to predict how the customer is going to react. You have to be able to capture demand without his being present in front of you. Second thing is, in the last 22 months, businesses have been hit very badly on the economic front, financial front. People used to talk about disruption, but this prolonged disruption has brought to the fore the consciousness and awareness that disruption is definitely a possibility. And with things going online, the second type of disruption, which can be even more dangerous in the days to come, cybersecurity is becoming a very serious threat. The enemy could be anywhere. He could be anywhere, and you will not know till he hits you. And then finding him out is going to take a long time. So disruption in the cyber front has become a great possibility and reality. In other words, COVID has brought to the fore 4 things. 1, employee welfare and employee safety. Number 2, ability to manage crisis on the fly. Number 3, be tremendously agile and manage change. And number 4, be disruption proof. Without this, today companies cannot move forward. Another very big thing which has happened is value chain was something which people used to only talk about, the supply chain. But today it has become an absolute reality. Just imagine, Europe is again in the grip of a pandemic, the 5th, wave. China on one side, we are not trading much with China. China was one of our biggest suppliers. That has come down drastically. And then we were looking towards Europe and US. They are now hit. Europe is now hit very badly, and things are again going to go haywire. Supply chain management, value chain analysis, all these things have taken a forefront for the industry. The language of the industry has changed. And what has changed for the individual? Two very big things have changed for the individual. Number one, if you are not willing to learn today on a day-to-day basis, you become obsolete. In this tremendously changing environment, you cannot rest on your oars. Your skill set can become obsolete overnight. So you have to have your ear to the ground and you have to constantly upgrade yourself in whichever field you decide to be. Add to that the fact that the competition for you could come from anywhere. If you are not interested in being considered just as a human being and as a professional, you need to be able to signal to the world what it is that you are offering. Otherwise, you are just another commodity called a human being. The competition need not necessarily be from the table next to you or the cabin next to you. The competition could be thousands of miles away in some other continent, and that person could disrupt your life totally. So unless you are going to become the go-to person who is able to signal the difference that you make to the ecosystem that you are a part of, you will be nowhere. You'll be very surprised to know, Ms. Suma, that in India alone, 14.2 crore people lost their job during the pandemic. And today, Europe and US is going through a wave of attrition. People have simply started leaving their job because the gig economy, that is the off-balance sheet workforce, is slowly taking over the balance sheet workforce. Because of, resource constraint, lots of people lost their job. Many people were, sent off on compulsory leave during this period. Many of them didn't come back. They simply decided that they don't want the job. They found that sitting at home, they can do a much better job. Second thing is, with this remote working starting, many corporates have realized that the cost of the infrastructure, which used to be one of the highest costs, in fact, survey has shown that 63% of the cost of an organization is an infrastructural cost. That does not become redundant. That is not required. If people are going to work remotely, you don't require an office. If gig workers are available, contract workers are available who can come and just do the job and go, then you don't require permanent employees.
Well, there is
If permanent employees and office structure is what was costing the companies the most.
there is a huge labor impact due to this, pandemic, and understanding that the labor impact is there. McKinsey did a survey that 25% or more workers than previously estimated need to switch occupations due to acceleration from COVID. Thanks to that, 25% or more workforce have to switch their occupations. Can you please help us understand what should the professionals do at this time?
As I was telling you, see, 25% or more of people are going to switch their job, not because they have been asked to go. This is in the post-COVID era, I think they are talking about. That is because people have today realized that it is possible to earn without having a steady job. If you are good at something, there is always a place for you in the gig economy. What is the gig economy? Is the contingent work talent pool. What is called as the off-balance sheet workforce. Now you see there is a particular job which requires to be done. And you can be hired to do that job at a fraction of the cost. And you can do it at the convenience of your own time. And you can do multiple jobs of that same nature. For this, you need to first and foremost be able to constantly upgrade your talent pool. Your talent, you have to constantly upgrade. You have to be up to date with what the industry wants and how the industry is growing, what is in demand. Second thing that you need to be able to do is to signal to the world that what you represent. Just imagine, Ms. Suma, there is an office with, let us say, 20 people working in that office. Suddenly a crisis comes about. Who will get the job which is to be done to solve that crisis? If you are in your leadership studio, suddenly a crisis comes, who will you approach?
A management consultant.
Whoever comes to your mind at that time, who you think can solve the problem, will be the person you will approach. In other words, whoever you consider to be the go-to person for a solution is the person you will approach. Now, how will ABC signal to the corporate that he is the go-to person? Everyone is working. Everyone comes. You see, earlier, we were all output driven. We used to go to the office at 9 o'clock. We have to be sitting there till 6 o'clock. And our attendance was marked, and the attendance was proof that we are working. But today, with people working remotely, attendance is no more there. No one knows really whether you are working or you are sitting and watching the TV. Then how do they know that you are doing the job? That is because at the end of the day, if the deliverables are achieved, the outcome is achieved, it means you have done your job. So you have become outcome driven rather than output driven. Now you see, in any office, the person who used to be output driven used to be the person who was the go-to person. Whenever a problem comes, people used to go to him. But there is a small difference here. The difference is, unless you are going to blow your trumpet, the world is not going to blow it for you. You will have to signal to the world that you are bringing this difference to the table. That this is how you are different. And this is the value proposition that you offer. This is the competitive advantage by coming to you. They receive. That means, in other words, not only do you need to constantly upgrade yourself, you need to be a brand. If you are not a brand, you are lost in this, at least post-pandemic era. If you are a brand, then you are on the top of the mind recall. If you are on the top of the mind recall, assignments will come to you, projects will come to you, and they will give you more opportunities to further establish your brand and grow. It is very essential in the post-pandemic era for every professional, every business person, every entrepreneur to sit down and think how he wants the world to view him. If you want the world to view you in a particular way, if you don't work towards it, you will be lost. Because you see, when remote working is going to be the rule of the day, one-to-one interaction is going to reduce drastically. No, everything, you order something on Big Basket or Amazon, anywhere, the first thing they say is no contact delivery, no contact service, no contact, everything is no contact. Everything being no contact, your sales is going to be no contact. Sales people are not going to contact their customers. Employees are not going to be in contact with each other. Then how do you signal your importance? How do you signal your value?
Okay.
There are 1 million brands of phones in the market. Still, ask anyone to name a handphone. The first two names will be Apple and Samsung. If you are not going to be the Apple, if you are not going to be the Samsung of your ecosystem, you are lost. It does not matter how well you know your job, how committed you are to your job, how sincere you are to your job. that doesn't matter.
Okay, I know you're talking about, branding ourselves and, establishing ourselves in the post-COVID era. But there is another twist to it, Mr. Subramanian. 32% of the organizations are replacing their full-time employees with contingent workers as cost-saving measure. 32% are being replaced, the full-time employees. This is according to another survey. Now, the person brands himself, but if the organization is replacing them, what is the future of work for these entrepreneurs, professionals,
Now, let me ask you two
as well as
questions.
entrepreneurs? There are entrepreneurs again. While there are entrepreneurs, there are entrepreneurs. So what is the future of work if the organization replaces 32% of their workforce?
You're absolutely right. Why are they reducing the number of people in their organization? There are two reasons for it. Number one, organizations are passing through a severe financial crisis. Payments are not forthcoming. Sales are down. Supply channels are disturbed. They are unable to predict what is going to happen tomorrow. So obviously they are reducing their cost. And that's a very intelligent thing to do. In fact, they should. Companies run not on emotions, but on a sound balance sheet. If you're not going to focus on your balance sheet, then you are in trouble. So automatically, cost-cutting measures will be there. Now tell me one thing. If there are 3 people working in a company and the company decides to downsize by 1 person and they will keep only 2, who do you think is likely to lose the job among the 3? The 2 people whose value to the organization is known, whose capabilities are known, whose name is at the top of your mind recall as important people for the organization, or the 3rd person who may be a very honest, hard, sincere, capable worker, but is invisible. In fact, the 3rd worker might be even better known to the, maybe a better worker than the first 2. But if he is not known, what happens? He will lose the job. Fortunately, unfortunately, as unjust as it may sound, if you are not visible, you don't exist. That is for everywhere, be it at home or in the office. If you are not viewed as being important and capable, even if you are important and capable, you will lose the job. That is the first thing. Second thing, why is it even more important to be able to voice your capabilities to the world? You said that 32% of the people are going to be replaced. And the work will still be done. Because people have been removed, the work will not stop being done. Who will come and do the work? The contingent pool will come and do the work. What you call the gig economy will take over, or what is called the off-balance sheet workers will come and do the work. Now, how will you decide which gig worker should come and do the work? Who should you approach for that work? Again, you see the branding comes. If you know that ABC is a good person, he is a capable chartered accountant, he can maintain your accounts better than DEF, you'll go to ABC. You are not clairvoyant that you will know that ABC is better than DEF till ABC shouts from the rooftop that he is a better chartered accountant than DEF. So you see, branding works in both the ways. See, branding of your capabilities, what you offer to the organization, what are the unique differences you bring to the workplace will ensure that you don't lose the job. In a downsizing, you will be saved. And if you should decide to leave a permanent job and take a job as a gig worker or a contingent talent provider, then also customers will come to you because you will be known. Let us not forget that we are just one among the 7.87 billion people on this earth. If we cannot show the world how we are different, we cannot ask the world to recognize us and remember us. We'll be forgotten.
Okay.
This is not just sufficient. While you have to seriously brand yourself to be recognized in this world, you have to constantly upgrade your talent base. You have to constantly learn what's happening. What is the latest which is there in the marketplace? Because things are changing very fast. If 2 years back you had gone for an interview, they would have asked you about your past experience of handling problems in an COVID-free environment. Now, if you go for an interview, they will ask you questions which will try to help them understand how agile you are in adapting to a changing situation and how stable and calm you can remain in a crisis situation. Things are changing fast. You will have to change yourself.
Well, agility is, time and again coming in your answers or your responses for how the change is coming in. And also you mentioned about the gig economy picking up, right? So in this era, it is picking up steam. Gig economy was in different countries, but now thanks to, again, the pandemic and the tectonic shifts which have happened, it is picking up in India too. And in such a scenario, what would you advise for today's professionals as well as entrepreneurs for sustainability and growth? One, the economy is picking up. Here, what should the others do? If 32% is the shift and 25% or more have been asked to shift the occupation, and on the other side, gig economy is picking up, what is your advice to the professionals?
Let us understand the scenario from a different angle. The scenario is not as bad as some people might think. The worst is behind us. For the last 22 months, the industry has been very badly hit. Every part of the industry, every vertical has been affected. But one of the major good things which has happened is it has created a vacuum. And this vacuum, nature abhors vacuum, this vacuum is going to be filled. In other words, we are headed towards an excellent period of growth. Even during the 1918 pandemic for the Spanish influenza, post-pandemic, there was a huge upsurge. In the same way, this pandemic also, there is going to be a huge upsurge. The difference is in the way corporates are going to handle the upsurge. That is where the difference lies. Now, you are very right. The gig economy is growing. Why? Two reasons. Number one, people have realized that it is possible to not have a, a permanent job and still earn well. If you are an expert in something, you can do the job from your home and you need not restrict yourself to just one person. You can do work for multiple people at the convenience of your residence, have a good work-life balance and still earn substantially. And on the other hand, the corporates are also benefiting in that they don't have to spend so much on a particular work. At the same time, take on the responsibility of the welfare of an employee and be answerable to the government and still get the work done. So it's a win-win situation for both. The only thing is, you see, what happens is we have, there are going to be changes in the way labor is going to be organized in this country. It is going to happen as in every other country. Here also, it is going to happen. There were, attempts in the past, but they did not work. But going forward, I think there is going to be a tremendous amount of change. Along with the change is going to come an upsurge in the engagement of the people who are going to be employed. Earlier, people were not very engaged. Reports show, surveys show that only 17% of the world workforce population is engaged, 83% are not engaged, but that has shot up in the US from 18%, it went up to nearly 27% during the pandemic. For the simple reason, when people started becoming outcome-oriented rather than output-oriented, they worked extended period of time. They developed competencies by which they could deliver. Now, these capabilities of compacting your work into a short period of time, enhancing your competency, and delivering is going to be a big boon for those who are going to adopt the contingent talent pool as their way forward. It is a good thing which is happening. We really don't need to worry about it, because you see, we are in for a huge upsurge. Second thing is, we were a 2.8 trillion economy in 2019. We were planning for a 5 trillion economy by 2024. I think we will be able to catch up to it, give or take 5 to 10 percentage points. We should be able to catch up to it. So there is going to be a huge amount of growth. Second thing is, automation is coming in a very big way. Sectors where people thought automation was not possible, that is at the labor level or in the hotels, restaurant, hospitality industry, there also automation is coming up in a very big way. But with automation coming in, we really do not need to worry, for the simple reason there will always be need for people who will be able to control those. So there is going to be a different set of skill sets which is going to be required. That's why I said people will have to upgrade their skill set. You cannot rest on your oars. You cannot say, I know this, and that is the end of it. No. Sales is going to be redefined. Selling is by far one of the most, critical functions of any organization. Any organization exists only to sell its products and services. Selling was a face-to-face thing earlier. That is not going to happen anymore. A fraction of it will be face-to-face, but otherwise everything is going to go digital. So there has people will have the current salespeople with their understanding and expertise of sales. When they acquire knowledge of how to do the selling on the digital platform, they will be invaluable. But again, just acquiring the knowledge will not do. You should be able to educate the world about the newly acquired knowledge that you have got. In other words, personal branding is going to become even more important than commercial branding.
Noted, Mr. Subramanian. Now, you mentioned in your response that there will be an upsurge in the job market. At the same time, there will be need which will be created, right? To address this, what are the essential attributes of a professional or a businessman, entrepreneur, intrapreneur, needs to hone to lessen the impact of change? There is an impact. What are the attributes they have to hone to lessen the impact of change, especially during these trying times? What is your suggestion?
Change need not necessarily be bad, Ms. Suma. Without change, there will be no growth. Because change, by its very nature, has in it the seeds of opportunity. The law of economics says one person's loss is another person's gain. In nature also, you will see when you dig a hole in one side, the mud that you take out of the hole makes a mound on the side. So you see, whenever there is a negative, there is always a positive to it. Now, just imagine, we were dependent a lot on China for the raw materials. But when that got blocked, we started looking within ourselves to see how we can overcome this raw material shortage. Now things are happening in that direction. Will that not create jobs? You see, today, goods movement from one place to another has got tremendously restricted. In the last 22 months, supply chain has been affected very seriously, and we do not know when it will come back to normalcy. In the process, what has happened? Small business owners, entrepreneurs, big companies, government, everybody is looking inwards to see how they can produce within their geographies itself so that they are not dependent on somebody else. Tell me one thing, would this have happened if the COVID had not hit? Third thing is, before the pandemic, the concentration of people was only on earn, run. But after the pandemic, now they are looking at their families. Now they are looking at their health. Now they are looking as to how they can enhance the quality of their life. Life itself has become uncertain. Now, would this have happened if the pandemic had not hit? Because of this, lifestyles are changing. Relationships are changing. People are developing new skill sets. A consciousness is coming in the people that they have to become better than what they were earlier. Now, all this is a change for the positive. See, there is a report recently which said that more than 20% of official travel and meetings are going to be stopped. What does that mean? Online meetings, virtual meetings will go on. People will still have to converse with each other to do business. Only thing is, now they will not travel from one place to another. They will meet on the virtual platform. Now, what will that do? It will enhance your capability to communicate better. Where you are depending on one-to-one interaction, now you are depending upon your languaging, messaging, and your capability to drive messages implicitly, subliminally to convince your customer. So you see, skill sets will have to be rediscovered, reinvented, and people will have to definitely collar the opportunities which come their way. A procrastinating mindset will be a losing mindset in the new normal. You know, in design thinking, you know, Ms. Suma, we say, fail safe, fail fast. Don't wait, do it. Learn from the failures and move forward. Earlier, these were platitudes. Now they are realities. You wait, someone else is going to take the first mover advantage and move on and build their career. You will have no one to blame but yourself. When opportunities come your way, learn to collar it. Keep your ear to the ground. See what are the latest developments in the marketplace and acquire it. Today, fortunately, because of the online platform, everything is available to learn. You can learn from the comfort of your home. Do it.
I mean, with the trying times, you have shown, thrown light on many things. Now with the upsurge and, one has to learn. What are the critical priorities the professional has to have now?
You see, a professional will have to first and foremost do a personal audit. We don't do any audit. We live in a world of imagination where we imagine ourselves to be capable. We have our own picture of what we are, and we continue to carry that. But it is time you sit down, do an audit, and look at really what you are, what your capabilities are. What are the capabilities which the market is demanding? And see how you can bridge that gap. Today, I was talking to a couple of very talented ladies, and I was telling them that unless you are able to define exactly what you want, you will not know what to go for. You know, Ms. Suma, it is a very unfortunate truth that more than the world, we cheat ourselves. We tell ourselves stories about our capabilities. We don't face our inadequacies honestly. We keep procrastinating and postponing for tomorrow what should have been done yesterday. If what should have been done yesterday is still postponed to tomorrow, how will you succeed today? This is a question which every aspiring professional who wants to succeed in life, who wants to provide a good life to his family, has to ask himself. What is my current skill set? What do I need to acquire so that I can provide the competitive advantage to those who require my services? No one is obligated to come and ask you to serve them. When people come to you asking for your service, they are placing a trust on your ability to serve them. They are doing you a favor. Are we equipped enough to take that opportunity and really give them the full satisfaction? From a period of serving customers, we have moved into an era where customers are demanding for a high degree of experience, positive experience. Are we in a position to provide them that experience which they want, which will make them come back to you? As I said earlier, we are just one among the 7.87 billion. And every one of these 7.87 billion are just a mouse click away. Earlier, at least we had to move from one place to another to go and meet someone. Today, we don't even have to do that. Just move our forefinger, press the mouse, and the person is bang in front of you. That is how close we have become while being so far away, distant, and invisible. If they don't click the mouse, you don't exist. If they click the mouse, you become a reality. It is under these circumstances that people are going to be working and earning their living in the days to come. Two things are going to decide your fate. Number one, are you upgrading yourself on a second-to-second basis? Number two, are you a brand? If not, you are in trouble. This is not just for you, it is for the corporates also. For the corporates, they have to be ready with a short crisis management plan. They have to be very agile to handle change. They have to be very focused on employee welfare. Instead of 100, you have 10 employees, but see to it that their welfare is paramount. COVID has put the finger into our eyes and shown us life is uncertain.
Absolutely, Mr. Subramanian. And VUCA was the term used in the corporate world only. Rather, it was in the military and then it came into the corporate. But now, 7.87 billion are in the VUCA world. If that person has to be recognized in this VUCA world amidst the chaos, what are your key insights for a professional to grow and scale? And this will be the closing question.
What is the biggest advantage of the gig economy? The biggest advantage of the gig economy is multiple revenue streams. The first and foremost thing in an uncertain world is not to depend upon a single revenue stream, but to create multiple revenue streams. If one revenue stream gets into problem, at least one other is there to safeguard you. Number two, maintain good health. A healthy body promotes a calm, satisfied, and stable mind. In crisis and conditions of change, you have to be very calm, very stable. Only then you can take the right decisions. Ms. Suma, the best example would be one of taking a glass of water and then shaking it and looking into it. Nothing will be visible. But if the water is calm, when you look down, you will be able to see your reflection. A calm mind helps you in taking good decisions. Number three, as I said, upgrade yourself constantly. I cannot lay more stress on the fact that whichever area you decide to, concentrate on, achieve the best possible level of expertise in that area. But all these things will go to waste if you are not able to create a brand for yourself and signal to the world that you are a brand. Brand means identity. You see, when people talk of brand, there are two things. One is called a brand image, the other is called a brand identity. Brand image is how the world sees you. Brand identity is how you want the world to see you. Be very clear about what you bring to the table and chisel a brand for yourself and message it loud and clear to the world and back it with the evidence of performance. You are through. I'm telling you. You will be the king or the queen of this VUCA world created by the COVID pandemic. Develop the competencies, have good health, both mental and physical, create a brand and message it correctly. You are through. You don't have to worry about anything under the sun.
Thank you, Mr. Subramanian. That was an exhaustive, explanation for how one can establish amongst the chaos in an organization or in the business or otherwise in a professional career. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time and thank you everyone for participating. Now we are opening the floor for any queries. There is one question from Mr. Nitesh Godichor. He says, my question is about start new service firm while doing job. Is it possible? If it is possible, how?
You see, it depends upon the terms of your contract in the company that you are currently working. If the company does not allow you to do business of your own, then I think it would be inappropriate for you to do it then, because you'll have to hide it from them. Second thing is, most people, what they do is they start a service firm in the name of their wife or father or mother or something, and still they do the work. Again, what will happen is you will neither be able to concentrate on the work where you are employed, the place where you are employed, or provide your clients who come to you for service in your firm adequate concentration. So I would very, very sincerely suggest that one not do that. Having said that, supposing you are capable, you are competent, you are up to date on the current trends and requirements, and you are willing to work hard by creating a brand for yourself, I would say just simply throw the job and start the company. The opportunities are enormous, and you will have a first mover advantage, and you can really penetrate the market at this time. The only problem that people have is that they don't take decisions. You take a decision, it might go wrong, but you will learn something from it. And out of that will come a better opportunity. Don't worry about it. Create a brand for yourself. Sit down, think what it is that you want the world to look at you as. Have a good strategy. Take the help of people who understand branding and move forward. Opportunities are really opening up in this post-COVID period, so you don't have to worry about it.
I hope Mr. Nitesh's question was answered by Subramanian. Thank you so much, Mr. Subramanian.
Are you happy with the answer, Mr. Nitesh?
Nitesh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Really, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nitesh.
Any more questions? Do we have any questions for Mr. Subramanian? Okay, there is a question from Pooja Bakshi. In this an age of generalistic or a specialist in the context of, is this an age of generalistic or specialist in the context of VUCA? Is this the age?
This is the age of the specialist. You have to specialize in something. Only then you will be able to create a brand for yourself. One can't be something for everyone. One can't be everything for someone. But you can be everything for someone. And in this population of 7.87 billion, if you are something for even 1,000 people, Ms. Pooja, you are through. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be everything for everyone. And you see, life is like that. Just imagine when you are studying in class 8, you study history, geography, science, commerce, arts, everything. When you come to college, you take one particular discipline. You take either science or arts or commerce. As you go to post-graduation, you again, narrow down. That is a telescopic movement towards more and more specialization as you go higher and higher. Why does that happen? That is because the more you specialize, the more you are able to create value for a particular target segment, and you service that target segment. The only difference between then and now is that at that time, you had the opportunity to interact with the target segment on a one-on-one, face-to-face level. But now that is gone. Everything is moving online. Everything is going remote. Even at that time, branding was important. Just imagine. When we talk about an orator, immediately to our mind flash the picture of Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, Adolf Hitler. When we talk about Apple, immediately to our mind springs Steve Jobs. Amazon, Jeff Bezos. How is it that they have been able to create such a larger-than-life image for themselves? We too can create the same larger-for-life image for ourselves in our ecosystem, in that limited 1,000 people whom we serve. And that will ensure, once you are on top of the mind recall, that you will be the person they will go to. Success in the corporate world comes by being a go-to person. If a promotion is available, if a higher position is available in an organization, the person who occupies the top rung of the ladder in the mind space of the senior management is the one who gets promoted. You automatically start believing that that person is good, even though there might be a few other people in the organization who are better than them. That's how the mind works. In this era, we are moving into an era of specialists. So it is advisable for every generalist to sit down, think what he is passionate about. You can become a specialist only in what you are passionate about. Think what you are passionate about. Go after it with everything that you have. There is plenty scope in the post-COVID era. Does that answer you, Ms. Pooja?
Thank you, Arunji. Thank you so much. Definitely it does.
There is another question from Sanjay.
Yes.
Upgraded wider skill sets.
What is the question?
Specialist means upgraded wider skill sets.
I do not understand.
He is asking, Sanjay,
Sanjay, can you ask directly?
Yes, sir. Since you emphasized on specialists and the continuous learning and upgrading ourselves, so does the specialist in today's world means upgrading and having a wider skill set than what was earlier, I mean, few years ago?
Let me explain this. It's a very good question. It's a very, very good question. Upgrading and widening your skill set in a focused area.
Okay.
Are you understanding? Supposing, let us say you are a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Okay.
You upgrade your skill set to conduct cardiac surgeries with the latest technology available in a wide manner of doing that surgery. You do not focus maybe on only one particular way of doing it. Are you understanding what I'm telling?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Sir, what about
Then
IT?
what?
In
And
the
you see, then here comes the main crunch. So you have a wide skill set. You have upgraded yourself to the topmost level. Who knows it? Only you know it.
Yes.
You know. You know, I'm reminded of that movie. How many of you have seen this movie, Dawn? Dawn of Amitabh Bachchan. You know, I think it is Helen who, you know, she tries to seduce Dawn. Amitabh Bachchan takes away the bullets from his revolver, and then the police reach. Amitabh Bachchan, you know, he takes the revolver and puts it to her head, not knowing that there is no bullet in it. She tells Dawn that there is no bullet in it. What can you do? He thinks for a second and then says, you know there is no bullet in it. I know there is no bullet in it. The police don't know. So come. He ties her mouth and he escapes with the gun to a temple. It is just the reverse here. You know you have upgraded yourself. You know you are a capable cardiothoracic surgeon, but the patient doesn't know. The world doesn't know.
Okay.
So it is absolutely essential that in addition to upgrading yourself, you also message the upgrading to the world.
Right.
Am I clear, Sanjay?
Yes, sir. So there is a similar question, like for example, in IT field, like you gave the example of cardio surgeon.
Thoracic surgery. Yeah.
Yeah. In case of IT, there are too many IT professionals. So will, like in terms of specialization, there are too many specializations and too many people vying for the same kind of specialization. So how does, in this sense, will branding will leave, will become a sort of a saturation? Like, how do you actually stand out among this?
I tell you. See, you have answered the question yourself, Sanjay.
Yes.
Just imagine there is a team in an office, IT office, of 50 people, the 50 employees. All of them are equally good, right?
Yes.
One opportunity comes for promotion. Who do you think will get it?
It's a very tough competition.
There is no competition, in fact, according to me. The person who will get it will be the person who will be able to brand himself as being the most capable go-to person who is willing to put his best foot forward under all circumstances. There will be someone who will be close to the boss, isn't it?
Actually, since the importance of branding is rising, a lot of people will now look into that branding mode by undergoing.
A lot of people are looking into it.
Yes.
The question is how well you can brand yourself.
Okay.
How many people are vying to get into the Indian cricket team?
Okay.
But are everyone able to get into it?
So apart from the, which basically means apart from the performance competition, there is also going to be a competition of how do you brand well. There will be a branding competition as well.
101%.
Okay.
I'm telling you, 101% you are right.
Okay, sir.
If you are not going to create brand Sanjay better than others, you will be left behind. There is no doubt about it.
Okay, sir. Right, sir.
Maybe it may sound unjust. But then you see the person who has branded himself better has shown, in addition to the capabilities that you are offering, he has shown the extra capability of being able to brand himself better than you, isn't it?
Yes.
Then doesn't he deserve that promotion?
Yeah.
That's all. You see, if all things are equal between all the employees, one of them is able to brand himself better than all the other employees, should he or should he not get rewarded for his efforts?
He should be.
That's all. He's getting rewarded. You know, I am reminded of George Orwell's Animal Farm, where they say all animals are equal, some are more equal than others. And the some are more equal than others comes only with the branding.
Actually, branding competition should not be at the cost of performance competition.
Branding is also a performance issue only.
Okay.
If you can brand, see, one thing is, Sanjay, I'll tell you one thing. Don't look for justice in this world.
Yeah. Okay.
Justice is an individual perception. Tell me one thing, if all people get 100 marks, 100 out of 100, and there is only one seat for MD, and all the MBBS students have got 100 out of 100, who will get that MD seat?
Yeah.
Whoever gets it, the balance 99 will, what will they say? They will say there is no justice in this world. We also got 100. Correct or not?
That's it. Okay.
But there is only one seat.
Yeah.
Then
So it's the survival of the fittest.
I will not say survival of the fittest. I will say survival of the one who has branded himself the most.
Yes. Okay.
You see, what did Darwin say? He did not say survival of the fittest. He says the species which will adapt itself best to the situation will survive.
Yes. Yeah. That's
The situation today is you have to upgrade yourself, otherwise you are nowhere. You have to be able to offer that competitive advantage. But having offered that competitive advantage, you will also have to brand yourself, because others will also upgrade themselves. It is not that only you will upgrade yourself, isn't it?
Yes. Sir.
So others are also upgrading themselves.
So here there is a similar question. Engineering graduate, should he go in for MBA also because of wider, like for better branding and better CV or whatever you call it? Sir?
You see, all these are branding.
Okay.
Who is the head of Microsoft?
Yes, Satya Nadella. Yeah.
Satya Nadella. Who is above him?
Yeah, Bill Gates.
How many MBAs are working in Microsoft?
Maybe thousands.
And Bill Gates is a college dropout.
Yeah, but he's an exception to the rule, actually, I should say.
So exception proves the rule. Exception is not the rule. You see, I'll tell you, you take any company. Who created Reliance Industry?
Is
Dhirubhai Ambani.
Dhirubhai.
Was he an MBA?
no, not at all.
Was J.R.D. Tata an MBA?
No.
Then was B.M. Birla an MBA?
I mean,
So you see, when you are going and studying for MBA, you are creating a brand of yourself. Now, second thing is what? An MBA from Annamalai University, MBA from Harvard. Is there a difference, Sanjay?
yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
Curriculum is the same. They are both going to go and handle a company. Now you tell me, you do your MBA in Harvard and do your MBA in Chicago Booths. Is there a difference?
Yes.
Definitely.
You do an MBA from Wharton or you do an MBA from INSEAD. Is there a difference? So you see, it's all branding. Pure and simple branding. There are people who top in the school education, higher secondary and SSLC and other examinations from government school also. But then we all put our children in convent. Why? Why don't we all go and put our children in the government school? And we proudly tell other parents, that my son is studying in St. Joseph's.
Yeah. Ego.
What is it? Who are you branding? You're branding yourself that you are capable of putting your child in St. Joseph. Everyone is a brand. Sanjay, every individual is trying a branding. Only thing is, when you try to brand yourself without knowing the process, the world will brand you. They will say, "Ye show off hai. This guy is showing off. He is showing his money. He is showing this. He is showing that." But when you brand yourself, you are called a philanthropist. You will donate $1 million, show it off on tax deduction, make another $2 million because of that, and become richer. And you will get a name, philanthropist. That is the difference. Branding is a scientific process and it has to be done. If you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. The choice is yours. Either you decide what you are in your life or others will decide what you are.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So there is another question from Narsim Murthy. Is there any
Yes.
chance that future is going to be bright for employees in corporate sector?
Suman, I'm unable to hear you properly. I don't know why some. Can you please hold your mic up?
Okay. Is there any chance that future is going to be bright for employees in corporate sector?
Future is bright for capable people everywhere. Be it in the corporate or in the gig economy, future is always bright for capable people everywhere. If your question is the future bright for everybody in the corporate sector? No. If you are not going to keep upgrading yourself, you are going to lose your job. It's as simple as that. And if you are not capable and you lose your job and people also don't know about you, you are not a brand, you will not get, what do you call it, that contingent work also outside. See, one thing the COVID has done very, very conclusively is it has decided that deadwood will not be acceptable anymore. Before the pandemic, in a company which required only 75 people working in it, there were 100 people working, 25 were just, eating, they were just parasites who were living off the labor of the other 75. COVID has come and chopped off that 25. The 25 will also get good, earnings if they now decide that they are going to take the responsibility for their life, develop themselves, learn their job properly, then they also have a bright future. Future is never dark for anyone who is willing to put in the effort to learn and develop himself.
There is one more question from Mr. Goswami. He says, if you want to become an entrepreneur, what are the activities you need to outsource and what can you do?
You see, one can be a jack of everything. You can't be a master of everything. But everyone is a master of something. In the world of corporates or startups, the biggest failing is when the startup founder tries to do everything himself. In the initial stages, because of financial constraints, because people are not willing to come and join a shaky venture, you might not get good people. This is where again branding comes. If you are a known brand, if people respect you, see, for instance, let me give you an example. There was this gentleman called Richie who, wrote the software for the Windows. And Steve Jobs was from Apple. Both of them died within 3 days. Now tell me, if Steve Jobs and Richie were both to go and try interview people, who do you think will get more candidates? Obviously, Steve Jobs will get the candidates Richie might not get because Richie is not well known. Similarly, as a startup founder, if you want to attract talent, you need to be a brand in yourself. People should know in your ecosystem that Goswami ji is like this. Once you get them, you should know how to delegate the work to those people who understand the functionality for which you are taking them. For instance, you have an old pressure cooker. It is not cooking as well as it should. It is not boiling the rice. So what do? You go and buy a new pressure cooker. Most startup founders, what they do is they buy the new pressure cooker, keep it aside, continue cooking in the old pressure cooker, and then complain that the new pressure cooker is not performing. How will it? Once you take the people, disengage, delegate the work, monitor the work, supervise the work, assist them. Don't be a boss, be an assistant to them. The highest position in the Indian administrative service is that of a chief secretary. The designation is secretary. He is there to assist the government in governing the people. Or startup founders need to give up this attitude of I am the boss and understand that the objective of the startup is the boss and all other people are there only to work, assist each other, collaborate with each other, and take it to a logical achievement. Take people, delegate the work to them, disengage and assist them. That is the mantra for a startup today. Because you are in an era when people are not in contact with you every day. You can't supervise them. They have to be self-motivated. They have to be highly engaged with the organization's objective. And that can happen only if it comes from within. Engagement cannot come from outside. Engagement can come only from within. Does that answer you, Mr. Goswami?
Yes, sir. I have followed, 3 things from your talk. So if you can buy milk from outside, these days, nobody will buy buffalo at home.
First class.
First thing. Second thing, there is no place for bogus bandmasters. Earlier, we used to have 25 people out of 100. They were hiding under the carpet and only 75 people, they were working. Now that is not a place for those. Those will vanish. And third thing I have followed is, so you have to be, specialized means 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep. You don't have to be 1 mile deep, 1 mile wide and 1 inch deep. So specialized, you have to understand completely. Thank you so much.
And there is one more thing which I would suggest that you carry back from this talk is that go to the top of the terrace and shout to the world what you are. That is what a branding is. If the world does not know what Mr. Anil Goswami is, Anil Goswami is just another name in the voter list, nothing else.
Now I'll join your class, sir, from tomorrow or day after, whatever it is going on.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
No,
you,
Mr. Goswami,
Hira.
I'm telling you, it is a must. There is no way out. You can't escape it.
Yes.
See, unless you shout from the top of the roof what you are and tell the world what you are in a scientific manner and get them to understand you, you are just a name in the voter list. Nothing else. That is the fact of life.
One more thing I want to add. I have a lot of phobia because my family, they do not want to do certain things with what I am specialized on. I am very good, very, very good in real estate. I am very good in revenue because throughout my life, but when I talk to my family, so I want to go for real estate or something like this. They say, this is nonsense. Don't talk these things. You are an educated man and you retired from a senior position and don't get into this, these things. So I'm always confused, by not able to balance it. Thank you.
You see, Mr. Goswami, I will tell you, as we age, our wisdom increases. Experience adds to that wisdom, and that is the period when we can do the best thing. I'm also not young. I'm not maybe, as senior as you are, but I'm also a senior citizen, 65 years old, and I find 24 hours is slightly less for me. I would have been very happy if there are 2-3 more hours to it.
Yes.
And I don't listen to anybody.
But you are a person full of wisdom, So
Branding.
yes, yes. That is right.
Only wisdom, not only wisdom, highly illustrious. That's what I feel, Goswami.
Thank you, Mr. Subramanian. That was an
Thank you.
excellent session. I hope it has helped a lot of individuals here, professionals, business people. What are their next steps for themselves? Thanks for your time for logging in, and thank you, Mr. Subramanian, for that.
And
Piece of
incidentally,
advice.
Suma, if you will allow me, my session, my program on personal branding is starting on 27th.
Sure, sir.
You have also registered for it. Now today, Mr. Anil Goswami has said he's registering. Pooja ji has registered. Sanjay and lots of people have registered. If anybody else wants to register, they can definitely contact me, or they can contact Suma ji if you want, in case you don't have my number. I'm sure you will find it extremely useful in the days to come. Ms. Suma, you can
this is
put my
Rajendra,
number in
I'm
the chat
registering.
box. Huh?
I'm Rajendra, I'm registering.
Oh, very great. Very great of you, Mr.
Rajendra sir, welcome like me.
Yeah.
No, you see, Rajendra ji, it definitely works when you get to the roof and shout.
Yeah.
I was thinking in the next batch, but now I am motivated. I don't want to waste even a single day.
Absolutely right, Anilji. I'm telling you, there is no need to waste. You know, as they say, that Shakespeare thing is, I think it was Shakespeare only who said, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in its petty pace. And all our yesterdays are lighted fools the way to dusty death. You see, and today I'm telling you, branding is so very important in every aspect of life. Anyway, we will have a great time during those 6 days of program. I promise you that it will be an experience worth remembering.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, madam.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Bye.